Well, hello and welcome to our next company programme training session, this time with Changing Point, all about what makes a good leader. And your presenter today is the lovely Maren. So thank you so much, Maren, for coming along, giving up your time to deliver this training this evening to our company programme students. I'm
My
just going to
pleasure.
share your screen and let you take it away. Just a note for everybody: if you are tuning in live today and you do make comments in the chat to ask questions, that's absolutely fine. And what we'll do is we'll just delete them at the end of the session, just so when it goes live and when it gets pre-recorded and is out there, people are not seeing the comments that are made. So over to you, Maren. Have a great time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Fraser, and welcome to today's sessions on leadership. And as you can already see on the first slide, it's about we all have certain things that come up into our mind when we hear the word leadership. And if you're online, please just put into the comments what comes to your mind when you hear the word leadership. What is the first thing that pops into your head? And you're like most people, it probably has something to do with titles, roles, or certain authority that we have seen in parents, teachers, or bosses. And today we're going to debunk a few of those myths around leadership, and you'll learn how to actually make the most of leadership and become a great leader yourself in your team. So I'm Maren, and I'm from Changing Point, and today we're going to talk all about leadership. How do you get the best out of the session is turn off all distractions. It's really super easy to watch a video or to listen to the stream next to something else, but you'll get the most if you actually turn off distractions. And you get as much out of the session as you put into it. For this, I'd recommend get a piece of paper and a pen and be ready to actually go and do the exercises we are doing today. And if you're live, take the opportunity to engage in the comments and to ask me any questions. That's what I'm here for. This is your benefit of being live. You can actually ask away and engage with me right here and today. We're going to cover 2 points today. First, we're going to talk about leadership, and we're going to talk about leadership and collaboration. Collaboration with your team, with your customers, or your stakeholders, whoever it is you have to collaborate with. And with no further ado, let's dive into a bit of leadership. As I said, often when we hear the word leadership, titles, roles, authority come into our head. Let me give you a different example. You might know this guy, Marcus Rashford, and he doesn't hold a title. He doesn't hold authority. He doesn't have a bigger role than his job to be a professional footballer. But he is a leader when it comes to school meals. He's someone who has authority in that area because he really shows up around us. He's a role model. He has a voice in that area. And he has that without any other thing. Just like anybody who can become a leader in a certain area if they show up for that topic and really engage. So when we go a little bit further away from public figures to your life, let me give you a little bit more personal example. I had an amazing leader in my life and I went to summer school. And he was my sports coach, my team sports coach. And what he did, he believed in a philosophy. He believed that it wasn't really about winning, but it was about showing up, giving your best, and having loads of fun when it came to team sports. Nice philosophy, you think? Yeah, I thought so too. But he actually did it. He actually lived it every day. So whenever we came to a game, he asked the other coach, do we want to call it a tie? And sometimes coaches said, yeah. So we then went to play this game and we already knew it was a tie. But we all showed up because he showed up. He went into the game, the other coach went into the game, and they gave it their best. They had loads of fun, and so did every single one of us. And those were the most engaged and amazing games, even though the result was predetermined. He was a leader because he lived what he believed. He really showed us. And when we won, he had fun too. But he believed it was more about the showing up and the having fun and the giving your best than the winning. So now over to you. What in your life, think of a great leader. This could be a parent, a relative, a friend, a teacher, a coach. And I would like to know from you, What makes them a great leader for you? Think of a specific situation where it really shows. I'll give you 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, please write down those 2 things. Who is it? And what makes them a great leader? Okay, so with your story in mind, read the words on the slide and find the words that describe it. Maybe they're not in this. Doesn't matter. Then just come up with the words that describe it, the leadership behavior, the leadership characteristics that this person showed. In my case, I would probably go with inspire, authenticity, and role model for my example. What are the 2 to 3 words that describe the situation and that leader in your life best? If your life, just share them with us in the comments. Remember, the comments will be deleted, so nobody else but us will see them. So now that you've learned a little bit about leader and leadership characteristics from a good example in your life, I would love for you to think about you, reflect on yourself as a leader. Pick one of the qualities you just picked or shared, and then give it a moment. What does or could it look like when you bring this quality to leading yourself or others? And what one thing could you do more of to bring this quality to life with your team, with your enterprise? Again, I give you 2 minutes to answer these 2 questions, and if you're live, please just share those answers with us. Thank you for interacting here. And the amazing part, what you already realized, is you just have become a leader. Just by realizing, oh, if I go ahead and I actually take on those characteristics and I inhibit and show those behaviors, I am a leader. I don't need a title. I don't need a role. I don't need anything but being myself. I can be a leader right now by simply showing up as a leader and by exhibiting those characteristics and behaviors. Good. With this, let's go on to leadership and collaboration. As I said, you will always collaborate with others. Is it in your team? Is it with your customers? Or is it with your stakeholders or shareholders at some point? You'll always collaborate. So before we talk a little bit more about how to best collaborate, let's make sure we both and all of us understand collaboration the same way. Collaboration is people working together to create something new that no one individual can create or do on their own. It's about building and maintaining effective relationships, as well as positively and actively working with others to achieve a new common purpose. In short, collaboration is all around creating something new that you on your own can't do. You need the others to make it happen. You're not able to do it on your own. And to make it happen, you need 2 ingredients. First one is relationships with those people you want to create together. And the second one is a common purpose in what you want to create together. That's collaboration. To start off this, let's have an exercise. I would like you to tell me in the comments how many rectangular boxes you see on this picture. If you're not live, just write a number down. You might have written down 3. You might have written down 4. You might have written down 12. You might have written down a totally different number. No matter your number, you're right or you're wrong, depending on the perspective. And that's super important as a leader and collaborator to know. Everyone has their own perspective. And to lead and to collaborate, we need to make that invisible perspective visible. What do I mean? If you have a project and you're the lead on the engineering part, you have a very different perspective on that project what's important for it, what's the timelines, what needs to happen, and maybe somebody who's responsible for marketing or customer engagement or HR or building the thing. So what makes a great leader is to actually get people to share their perspective, and by sharing it, making it visible. And once we have all our perspectives visible, we can talk about, okay, so how can we create a picture from that, a whole picture, and then move forward towards that common purpose that we have, where we're collaborating on. So for you, as a leader, the first step to make that happen is to actually know your own perspective. What does your own perspective look like? Where do you see yourself and your team at the moment? And what is your goal, wished for outcome? Again, you have 2 minutes to just write it down and actually become very aware of what it is that you want. Okay, thank you for writing that down. And your team will thank you too, as will your customers and stakeholders. Because the first step for collaboration is self-awareness. You need to know about your own perspective. You need to know if you can see 3, 4, 12, or any other number of rectangles. This is one big part of being a leader. The first part of being a leader is to be self-aware of not only what leadership qualities you want to bring to the table, but also what your own perspective on the project is. The second part is to actually learn about other people's perspectives to collaborate. And for that, you need meaningful conversations. So take a moment and write in the comments or on your piece of paper what makes a conversation meaningful for you. So if you're like most people, you'll start with something like, oh yeah, it's really important for people to do this or that. And at some point, you will come to the word listen. They need to actually listen to me. I need to feel like they listen to me. I want to feel heard. I want to feel understood. And even if people agree with you, but you feel like they didn't listen to you, you don't think it's a good conversation or even meaningful. If they disagree with you and haven't listened, you're just as well say, oh, they just disagreed. They just talked about their own opinion. But if they listen first and then might disagree, it's a totally different story. The magic key ingredient to meaningful conversations is listening. And the research behind listening says that high quality listening can drive personal desire for change, increase self-awareness and openness, have more productive feedback conversations, and creates a cooperative workplace environment. So what does that mean? Oh, if somebody really listens to you and you feel really heard, you're less defensive. You're more open to actually share and be self-aware about your strengths and your weaknesses. That then might drive your desire to change. Oh, I realize that behavior of mine is not helpful. So I want to change that, which makes it a lot more productive to have a feedback conversation. And with that, it creates such an amazing environment to collaborate. But listening in that way isn't so easy. Most of us know the listening basics, and they are already pretty hard. Don't talk when others speak. Show you're listening with facial expressions and verbal cues, and actually be able to tell the person what they said after they told you so. Those are the listening basics. But to really have meaningful listening, you need these 5 ingredients. Adopt the right mindset. Resist the urge to interrupt. Avoid assumptions. Accept two-way feedback and ask insightful questions. So what does that mean? Adopting the right mindset. It means to be open. Often it is like listening like a camera or a rock with ears. Don't listen with a purpose, but just listen. Resist the urge to interrupt. Really be present with that person. It's not about you. You can still say your part. Just be there with them and just listen to them. Avoid assumptions. So don't think you know. Rather ask another insightful question to really understand than to think you know. Really, really make sure that they have told you it all. That you didn't have to make any assumption about missing puzzle pieces. And accept two-way feedback. So if they tell you something, just take it and say thank you. Without judging it, without doing anything about it. Just listen. From these 5 qualities, which one are you already pretty good at? A, B, C, D, or E? Just write it down. Write it into the comments here or write it down on your piece of paper. Which quality are you already pretty good at? What's your strength? And then, which one of these is the one that you think you might benefit most from when you get better at it? So again, write down A, B, C, D, or E. What is the one quality, if you were better at it, it would actually give you the most benefit in your conversations and collaborations? Okay. So again, being a good leader is about self-awareness. You've just learned about one strength you have in listening and one potential area where you can become better in amazing listening. Insightful questions is the last point. And we can do a lot of good and a lot of bad with questions. The 3 types of questions that are helpful are open questions, closed questions, and exploratory or reflective questions. So we probably know most of you open questions. Just write down an example right now for open and closed. You probably have something for open question like, how was it like on your vacation? Or what did you do during your vacation? It's even more open. Closed question. You might have written something like, do you want to have the butter? It's a yes/no question. The most difficulties people usually have in the exploratory or reflective questions. And an example for this, I want to show you on this side. It's a question like, what specifically do you think made a difference? So it means you're going deeper. You're asking more specifically. And you're exploring a topic more deeply. So with an open question, you ask for options. What else? What else? What else? And with an exploratory question, you go deeper into it. Oh, okay. So if we go with this, what then? You go deeper into it. Questions that you should always avoid are leading questions, or in any sense, questions that are not falling under the category open, closed, exploratory, or reflective. So what I would like you to take from today is I would like you to go away with the following team action. The next time you come together with your stakeholders or your team, take turns to talk and listen without interruption. Really, really give people, like, even if you give them a 2-minute time frame, really listen to their perspective. Learn whether they see 3, 4, or 12 rectangles. What is their perspective on the project? Where do they see the team at the moment? How would they describe the goal, wished for outcome, so the common purpose for your collaboration? And what are maybe the challenges, the opportunities they see, you see, that you face as a group, and how you could get there to your desired outcome? Really, take this action, go out and actually have that conversation with your team. You'll be so much better off for it. And this, again, is leadership. Bringing people together, collaborating, being self-aware and sharing yours, and listening. Really listening. With this, I'm open for questions. And if there's no questions, I'm happy for you to write down into the chat what was one insight from today's session for you. What's something you learned or were remembered or reminded of? And then what is your next step? If you're listening to this later, write it down and actually take action on it. I'm going to give you a moment to just write it down, to write any questions, any next steps or insights, and share them with us. I hope this was helpful. If you need to get in contact, simply write to us. You can find us changing-point.com, and we're looking forward to hearing from you if there's any further questions. Otherwise, good luck with your entrepreneurial endeavor, and have fun using the leadership. I hope it will help you going forward throughout your life. Thank you for today.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Maren. I thought it was a really interesting session. I think there's loads of really key points that our students can take away and learn from, and actually implement some of those leadership skills that you've mentioned. So hopefully all those who have taken part are going to be watching this back will find that session really, really helpful. Now, to all of you who are sitting out there at the moment, remember to keep an eye on our social media channels and our website for the upcoming sessions between now and Christmas, and then in between January and February for all of the competition help and support that we've got available for you as you prepare for the company programme finals events. So thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with the rest of your company programme journey, and we hope to see you at a training session sometime soon. Thank you so much.